The Battle Mountain Huskies face off in the state championship. We talked to their head coach after the game. Also, we sit down with Senna Leith of the U.S. Snowboard team as he is getting ready to compete this season. All that and more coming up right now on the Scoreboard. Hey everyone, welcome into the Scoreboard. I'm your host Blake O'Rulean, and we have a great show for you today. We get a sit-down interview with the wonderful Senna Leith, who is a professional snowboarder of the U.S. Snowboard team. He talks about his off-season and what this next winter season has in store. And then the Battle Mountain boys soccer team went to Colorado Springs to compete in the state championship. We talked to Coach Cope about the game and the season overall. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break. So our very own Maddie Evans got the chance to sit down with Senna Leith, a member of the U.S. Snowboard team, continuing a career compiled of World Cup level competitions around the world. Let's hear about his summer and what he is looking forward to in this year's competition.
Now that winter is upon us, we've got some incredible athletes here doing some incredible things, and we just chatted with Senna before he went on this big, huge whirlwind of a road trip, and so we're going to check in, see how that was, but we're going to chat about his upcoming season, and he's part of the U.S. Snowboard team. Good morning, Senna.
Good morning. Thanks for having me in.
Thanks for coming in here. It's nice to see you again. It was amazing to follow your journey on this road trip that you just took that was so breathtaking.
Yeah, that was crazy, and it was already pretty ambitious to start with, and then it went like almost twice as long as I thought it was going to go.
Which is so cool though, and you got to see so many cool places, and we were talking last time about how it's really important that you keep your mental health as you're approaching the winter season really in check, and so this was a good way for you to kind of just like reconnect with yourself a little bit.
100%. I mean, as I told you, I think it's like one of the best things I've ever done in my life was this road trip, just seeing so much of our amazing country and all these like beautiful national parks I've never visited, and for sure like it did wonders for my mental health. I've never been like so calm and content with myself and kind of refocused on what I want to do and where I'm going as I was when I kind of finished the road trip. Well, really like halfway through is when like the reality of everything that the effect the road trip was having on me really hit, and by the end of it I was like, I'm like a new person, it feels like.
Which is so important, and as you're getting into your season, once you start your winter competitive season,
non-stop.
You don't get to stop at all. He was just telling me his entire schedule for the upcoming season, and you're just gonna be gone.
Pretty much gone, yeah. I mean, I'll be home like a little bit, but yeah, it's gonna be a lot of time on the road and not that much time at home. So you really have to make sure you're mentally dialed for everything that kind of the sport brings to you in that aspect.
Which, one of the crazy parts about this sport, and this is something like, I mean, from my very baby-like competitive years, getting in the start gate can honestly fill you with more pressure than anything.
Oh, the anxiety can be crippling, for sure.
Right, and then to have that and to do that as something that you're continuously doing, you're putting yourself in that situation over and over and over again. But like I ski race, so it was me and myself in that starting gate. It is not you and yourself.
not all the guys next to you.
No, which makes your sport, I feel like, so much more intense.
Well, yeah, I mean, I remember like when I was younger, when you get in the start gate, you like huge anxiety, but then you like learn to get comfortable in that setting, because that's crucial, is being comfortable when it's uncomfortable, because that's how you're going to succeed. Which is funny, because one of my big motives on this road trip, how it ties in, was like getting out of my comfort zone. And I really realized how much it actually takes for me to get out of my comfort zone. And that was like the biggest thing, is just pushing yourself further and further. And that's what I've really found like a lot of growth in, that I can actually take from this road trip that I kind of stumbled upon, and then take that into my professional career as a snowboarder.
Which I think is such a cool way to look at it, and such a unique kind of perspective on all of it, only because that's starting gate for me. I would be like, wait, have I taken a breath in the last 30 seconds? And I would be like, no, your face is purple. Like,
it's funny, if I hear like the cadence, like racers ready, attention, like my heart rate immediately starts like spiking.
Right.
I'm like, oh my gosh, it's happening, here we go. You know, even if I'm not in the gate, you know, because you're so used to that being like what fires you up.
And so for people who don't know the sport that you compete in, let's talk a little bit about snowboarder cross because it is intense.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. For those that don't know, it's 4 to 6 athletes starting to start gate drops, rollers, jumps, bank turns, carnage. Whoever crosses the finish line first wins. Moving through a bracket system all the way to a final, and that's where you win.
Okay, carnage.
Yeah,
Let's
carnage,
go back to that word.
Yeah, I snuck that little word in there.
One person falls. There's possibility for the entire team to go down. Now, you had a really good season.
You just got to dodge them.
Yeah.
Gotta dodge them, yeah.
You gotta be
Quick on the feet.
Quick on the feet, quick on the brain too.
Yeah.
So you had a really good season last year, but now that you're all kind of mentally reset and you have this really big upcoming season, how are you feeling as you're making your way into it?
Well, last season definitely had its ups and downs, but it finished on a really, really great note. I felt great in my riding, kind of where my direction was going. So to be refocused, and after a great summer of training, I'm the strongest I've ever been in my life right now. Physically, I feel amazing. My skills seem tuned up, and combine that with the mental aspect is where I really feel like I'm going into this season super competitive, the most confident I've ever been, and just gets you excited. I'm like, I'm tired of waiting. Let's go. It's time to race.
Right. And now that the mountains are starting to open and we're starting to see all the snow come and everyone is getting really excited to be out there and to be hitting the snow again, I'm sure as someone who lives this as not only just like part of their lifestyle, but as their career too, it's really nice when you can finally get your feet in the boots on the board and just like be where you are.
Those brisk mornings and you're like the crunchy snow and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, it's here. Everybody else knows it's here too. Let's go.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so you have a really crazy travel schedule. And so as you're preparing for your travel schedule, what do you do to kind of keep your mental health in the state that you're in right now?
Well, packing crucially and making sure I have all the items that I want for like my personal sanity on the road.
Right.
My good headphones, keep my music going, movies loaded for when I need to escape, my camera gear for photography escapes, and then just kind of making sure I'm centered and content with what I need to do. Nothing looming over me, nothing on my to-do list, because I want to make sure I'm really focused on what I need to be focused on.
Which I think is really important. And as you've been training all summer, how hard is it to be a competitive athlete and to train for something like snowboarder cross?
It's such a dynamic sport with so many different complex variables that go on with it. You know, between the physical training, the aspects with our gear, because our gear is so high tech these days. The race boards are just like ridiculous, and then it's just there's so many dynamics in the sport that really make it a lot more challenging than other sports, because you have to other sports you might have to focus on 1 or 2 things to really master. Here you got to master like 5 different things, more than that, 20 different things to really be successful at the top level. So you have to juggle and focus your time and where you need to progress, where you feel like you're pretty proficient, and where you need to focus some of your extra time and effort.
Which I think is kind of part of the challenge that you have to continuously balance.
Got to balance all of it.
Yeah, because you are on the road. So let's talk a little bit about your travel schedule, where you're going to be when the official kickoff to your competitive season starts.
Well, yeah, so we just finished up a good training camp. We were in Switzerland and then Austria, getting back on snow. I've been back in the Valley for about a week now, back to kind of some dryland gym training over here at the Westin. And then in a week from now, I head back over to Europe, and we'll have a little training camp in Austria to start. And then we go to France for our first World Cup of the season, which is going to be on the 2nd and 3rd of December, I believe. And then back to Austria the week after that for the next World Cup, and then the week after that in Italy for the next World Cup. So it starts going real fast here soon.
Okay, you just used the words World Cup. Let's talk about that. Did you ever see yourself as a kid saying, I'm competing in World Cups in France, in Austria? Was that
Funny enough, I did, but then maybe never really fully thought I'd be there, you know, because you're like, oh, I'm gonna make it, and then all of a sudden you're at that level, and you're like, holy crap, like I'm there, and then you become a top athlete at the level, which is even like crazier, because you're like, oh, wow, I've actually made it here, because it's such a slow progression of the work over time. It's not like overnight all of a sudden you're there, you know, it's just little baby steps throughout the years, and all of a sudden you're like, I am there. Whoa, holy crap. I guess I can compete full-time on the World Cup Tour. That's crazy. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We have more of this interview right after this. Welcome back in. When we left off, we were talking to Senna Leith about competing with the U.S. snowboard team. Let's hear what he has to say.
For the kids that are watching at home and that are like, wow, I want to be a World Cup athlete, what piece of advice would you want to give them, but what piece of advice do you wish someone would have given you when you were first starting out?
Oh gosh, I was so lucky with great mentors coming
Right.
up, so I was given so much great advice and role models that I was able to see just the value of true work ethic. What I think is one of the most valuable things is trusting in your coaches, seeing a process that works, and just simply doing the work and putting in the hours. Because if you just like chisel away, like nothing's going to come fast. But if you're working hard and continue to work hard every day, prioritize the things that you're supposed to prioritize. Over time, when you put in that serious work ethic and believe in yourself, that's how you're actually going to make it one day. And it doesn't come easy. There's no quick trick to making it. It's seriously just working hard. And for me, the biggest thing is that I've discovered over the years is I get so much satisfaction in just working hard and knowing that I did everything I could, and then therefore I don't have any regrets. There's a lot of variables in my sport. Sometimes it's not always up to what you did individually that brings you success. You can have things out of your control ruin your day, and that sucks. But if I know that I did everything in my power, I trained as hard as I could, I took care of my equipment, I took care of my mental health, then when I go to bed at night, I'm like, I don't have any regrets, and I'm happy, and that's what makes me content. And I mean, like getting on a World Cup podium is an incredible feeling, but it's also an incredible feeling just knowing that you're happy with what you did and what you achieved work-wise.
And so if you had to pick out one thing that one of these mentors had said to you as you were really starting to get into the sport, and maybe you were having a bad day on the snow, right? Maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was the snow was bad, the conditions were hard, visibility was low, wind was high. What's something that has stuck with you through all this?
Oh my gosh.
I know, I'm hitting you with these heavy questions.
That's a deep one.
I totally put you on the spot.
Totally on the spot.
I know.
Well, funny enough, I don't think it was a coach that told me this. It was actually my teammate Lindsay Jacobellis, my closest friend. A couple years ago, I was in a gondola with her. We were in Italy at the World Cup there in Trevina. And I was just like, kind of like a little bit crumbling under the pressure, and she's somebody who's been under so much pressure for so much of her career. And I was explaining to her, and she simply was just like, even at her level, and she's had so much success. She's won every single thing you can imagine.
Right.
From X Games to the Olympics, she's won everything. And she told me, like, you just have to focus one race at a time, which is like, that's so crucial because you can get so caught up looking at the big goals. You're like, oh, I want to make it to the big final. Well, in order to make it to the big final, you got to make it through the eighth final first. You got to make it to the quarterfinal and then the semifinal, And so if you're just focusing one race at a time and taking it slow and really just focusing on that process goal versus the outcome goal, that was like kind of the biggest thing that has stuck with me throughout the years. Because it's so easy to get caught up in the outcome goals and wanting to win, wanting to get a podium, wanting to make the national team. But those only happen if you really put a focus on the process goals. And so when she was like, it's just one heat at a time. And think, oh, a person at that level that's achieved everything, like I would think, oh, she's only ever thinking about winning, only ever thinking about the big final. But to know that even at her level, she's focusing on one race at a time, one heat at a time, just focus on what you're doing, what you need to do to get through that heat. I was like, oh, some pretty solid advice. Which is funny, I don't know if I've ever told her that how much that had an impact on me.
Well, you should show her this video. And we'll like, huge shout out for all of your success and for the great advice, because I think that it's important that at any level, in any sport, people take that advice and they take it in and they listen to it. And especially even in your day-to-day life, if you're having a week where at the end of the week you have this big push that you're going for and that's all you're focused on, then you're going to miss everything that happens in the remainder of the week before you get there. So that one race at a time, that one day at a time, it's important.
It's so important. Like this morning, I was in the gym and I'm like, okay, well, what do I have to do today? What part of my process do I have to focus on to achieve my end goal? And I was just going to focus on that. So all you do, you just focus on having a good workout. What do you need to do? What's on the schedule today? All right, just do your best at doing that. Everything else is going to kind of follow suit eventually.
Which is incredible. So you said you did have some challenges last winter. Let's just touch base on those really briefly and what you're going to do to kind of work past them in this ski season.
Well,
or snowboard season.
I mean, everybody's, the more you go through sport, the more you realize everybody's dealing with their own internal issues, pressures within the sport, pressures within yourself, pressures with loved ones. That everybody's dealing with conflicts. And last year I kind of had a lot of that from all different aspects, and it was hard to juggle, and I was very fortunate to work with a sports psychologist this summer, which I've never worked with before. And she really helped me she gave me a lot of tools that have helped me be able to refocus and reframe how I look at things and how I deal with adversities as they come my way. So that's one of the biggest things that's had an effect on me. I'm on some new equipment. I'm dialed in, which I had some struggles with equipment last year. So there's a lot of aspects that are changed, new and improved, and hopefully some new and improved results as well as a result of them. So.
Now, if people want to see you, follow your story, see what you're doing, where you are, what's the best way for them to kind of keep tabs on all of your whirlwinded adventures?
For sure. The best is through Instagram. It's where definitely the social media platform I'm most active on, @SennaLeith. But definitely Facebook, trying to get better on TikTok, Twitter. I'm all out there, easy to find, SENNALEITH. And I try to keep the people updated. I like to post everything that's going on, you know it, so.
I know it, because I'm like, hey, me over here, still one of your biggest fans, one of your biggest Vail Valley supporters. Like, we love you.
I get the messages always. I love knowing that you guys are thinking of me here, and Vail's my favorite place in the world. I love it here. It's where family is. It's where some of my closest friends are, and I always love coming back and being able to come in here and see you guys. So.
We love when you come in here, chat with us, give us all this great information, and kind of share the journey, because I think that everyone really takes what you do for a living, right? And they put this big, huge, glamorous filter on it. And so they're like, gosh, he's living his best life. He's out there. Not that you're not, but it's important that people know that you work hard on your mental health. And although it's perfect and you get to snowboard all the time and you're doing what you love and you're following your dreams, you do have these moments where you take time to recenter yourself, reconnect with you. And then that way people just know that even the best people in the world living the most perfect lives take time to focus on their mental health.
100%. And I always laugh because everybody's like, oh, your life's freaking awesome. I'm like, well, it is. I'm so fortunate. I'm so thankful to be in the position I'm in and have the opportunities I have. But it doesn't mean that I don't have my own struggles, and the days are still hard. Granted, my work is strenuous. It is stressful. I'm just really focused. I'm really fortunate that I get to be in really pretty places when I'm dealing with all this, so it makes it a little bit easier. But the work is there, and it's a grind, and we struggle just like everybody else do in our own ways. So the journey is the beautiful part of it. The end result's great, but I'm really just obsessed with the journey and the whole process, personal growth.
This is why I'm one of your #1 fans here in Vail, because I think it's so important that you remind people to be a human as well as...
Everybody's human. Nobody is without flaws.
Chase your dreams, right?
Yeah. Go after what you want in life. It's too short not to.
Right. Senna, thank you so much for taking the time, spending your morning on the couch with me, chatting with me, giving us all this great information.
Thanks for having me in.
Make sure that you follow him on social media. He's a local athlete here, and he is absolutely not only great at his sport and really fun to watch on the snow, but he's just a genuine and authentic person that you will personally connect with in so many ways. So check him out. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we've got more of the show.
Welcome back. Over the weekend, the Battle Mountain Huskies were looking to dethrone the reigning 4A soccer state champions, Northfield, over at this year's championship game. They unfortunately came up a little short, losing to Northfield 3-0. We got the chance to talk to Coach Cope after the game. Let's see what he thinks about the game as well as the season overall.
Hello everyone, this is the Scoreboard. We are here at Widener Field after, unfortunately, the Battle Mountain Huskies lost in the championship game. Cope, how did you feel your team was this whole season?
I'm so proud of our group. It was fantastic. And that game epitomized our, it was kind of a microcosm of our season. It started out a little bit slow. We gave up an early goal, which was really disappointing. And then we never gave up. And we were in it right till the end. And that's the same with our season. We took a couple knocks early on, but we were in it till the last game. And so I couldn't be more proud of this group of kids. They never, ever gave up until we just ran out of time. We didn't run out of effort.
Yeah, energy or spirit. You guys were fierce out there on the field, definitely giving it your all, got some great chances, but unfortunately just couldn't get it in. But it was a great game. A lot of turnout from the Battle Mountain crowd.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
It was great. It was great to see so many people make the trip down. We had 2 spirit buses from the high school, and the students and everybody were fantastic. And, the second half, if it's a different day, maybe we get a penalty on one of those chances. We hit the crossbar and the goalie cleared one off the line. So, on a different day, maybe we're standing here celebrating a state championship. But you know what? We had there they go, back to Edwards. We could have lost the semifinal too. So some days it bounces your way and some days it doesn't. So what a thrill to be able to win that semifinal in overtime and come down here and spend the day here. And I just said to the boys, just enjoy the experience, just enjoy the whole day. So.
Oh, absolutely. It was a great experience. I remember having you on in your preseason on our channel.
Yes.
Were you expecting it to make it this far when you were sitting there on that couch?
I think if you'd given me true serum that day and said, how far will you go, I think making the playoffs would have been a good achievement. I think competing for the league title would have been a good achievement. But here we are. We tied for the league title. We made the playoffs and we got a home game, and then we ended up with 2 home games and a sudden death win in the semifinal and then on to the final. So really you can't ask for more than that. We're just so fortunate and just proud to represent the whole community of Edwards and Vail and Eagle County.
Oh, absolutely. A major game. How did you feel your captains were today?
Yeah, those guys were great. I'm proud because Cooper especially has been such a great leader. He's vocal, he's kind to all the other kids, and he raised them up. And he lost his starting position and didn't turn negative. And I've seen that situation go really sour. And he came on today as a forward, and he gave us a few chances. We almost got a goal while he was in there. And then Edwin is just, the ultimate workhorse. He lets the show ponies up front, Dozel and Arturo and Jacob and those guys, he lets them go get all the glory. And he's just in the background just digging and working. And, if he was a football player, he'd be an offensive lineman. He's just a great, great kid. And I'm so proud of these seniors. They were all on C team as freshmen. That's the name of their text message chain is C team. And they went from C team to JV to varsity to the state championship, and you can't ask anything more than that.
That's just sort of the name of your club at the VM or at Battle Mountain. Just bringing them up throughout the ranks and coming and playing on such an amazing field here.
Yeah. And I remember telling you guys in August how proud we are of program guys. The guys who don't come in and start right away and aren't a superstar. They work hard and they work their way up, and some of the Husky faithful are still hanging around the parking lot here. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, it was a great showing today, a great effort out there, Cope, and I can't wait to see hopefully you here in this exact stadium next year with the rest of your lineup.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. Well, thank you very much. I can't wait to see you guys.
Thank you to the Scoreboard for support all season long. We love it, and it's been a great season.
It's been a great season. Thank you.
Now I got
to
go spend some time with my wife.
Awesome, girl. Hey, that's all the time we have for this episode of The Scoreboard. If you have any story ideas, email us at scoreboard@tv8vail.com. We cannot wait to hear from you. As always, visit our website, thescoreboardnation.com, to see content that you might have missed. I'm Blake O'Rulean, and from the entire Scoreboard team, thank you for watching, and we will see you all next time.